Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
Have you ever wondered how in the hell did I get here? You are not alone. My podcast is called True Crime Connections. It's an advocacy podcast where I talk with survivors of toxic relationships, abusive marriages. We all have one thing in common. How in the hell did we get here? And how do we get out? How do we find our self-worth again? Well, if you feel that way, come check out my podcast because not only do you get actionable steps to take to help you take your life back, but you can listen to how others have dealt with their own situations, including addiction, suicidal ideation, and low self-worth and respect. We can get you on the right track. Make sure to check out True Crime Connections. See you there.
Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way. Devil is on his way, motherfucker. The devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Fall to your knees. Devil gonna make you pay. Fall to your knees. Devil is on his way. Motherfucker, he's on his
Hey, y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Hey, Dylan.
What up?
How's it hanging?
You know, just chilling,
You just chilling?
watching the summer go by.
Watching the... Yeah, well, I guess that's one way to do it. Yeah, just watch it roll on by.
That's how I do it. I sit and I look
The tide. Like
and
the
I
tide.
and I see things.
All right. You've been doing a lot of sitting and looking lately?
I haven't had a chance to, actually.
Well, don't sit too long in our yard or you'll be ate up with mosquito bites.
Yeah, you can't sit and look in our yard for more than about 15 minutes.
There's skeeters everywhere. They are out in full force. And you know what, Dylan? They bite, and it is not okay.
No, they don't want you to have a good time.
Skeeters do not want you to have a good time. Dylan, we knew our last episode was controversial as we expressed our opinions. And man, we had someone who was very upset with us and told us our comments were so disgusting
Ooh.
when speaking about the little boy who was shot in Mississippi after his mother, waved him around the car. She was so disgusted by our comments, she just can't listen to us anymore.
Well, one thing I would say I failed at when we were discussing that is expressing what a terrible tragedy this situation is. And you have this little child who has lost their life in just the weirdest set of circumstances you could imagine. But again, I really think the responsibility falls back on the mother. Like Heather talked about, cops have these split seconds to make decisions in these situations. And I think it's almost like these two women did everything wrong in the situation that they could to make it worse.
Well, here's my input. You can be mad. You can be big mad. You can tell us we're disgusting human beings. Trust me, you're probably not the first person that's ever said that to me in my life. You actually can't hurt my feelings. If you've met my parents, then you would know you can't hurt my feelings. I would like to point out, however, that you are angry at two podcasters for expressing an opinion, and you are more angry at us than you are at the mother who failed her child and failed to protect her child by A, bringing the child into a store where a crime is possibly being committed by your friend, B, not strapping that child into a safety seat, into a car seat in the car, and then C, picking the child up and waving the child around at police who have guns drawn as your friend is driving away.
So that means you jumped into a car that may be driven erratically. Your child's not in a proper restraint. It's not in a proper seat. Anything could happen. You could get into a car wreck, driving out of the park, flying out of the parking lot. Like a million things could happen. And like I said, it's almost like they checked every box for what can you do to make the situation worse.
But that's what I find amusing, I guess, or just disturbing, because it's amusing but also a little disturbing at the end of the day when people get so riled up about an opinion So you're mad at us, but you don't have that same anger toward the mother who was supposed to protect the child.
And that's what really, and we'll move on, but that's what really drives me crazy in this situation is just take the charge, man. Just take the damn misdemeanor shoplifting charge, right? I mean, what are you doing?
Well, what I find really interesting too, Dylan, is that there are some racial justice advocates that are speaking out against this. And one of them said that a family was shattered over items that could be restocked, written off, and replaced. Okay. I mean, I guess I see that point of view. Yes. But at the same time, shoplifting is a crime. And you cannot, I mean, I feel like all you're doing is saying that it's okay for people to go in a store and shoplift, and that instead of charging them or, trying to retrieve your items or calling police, that you should just let those people steal from you and go about their day because something like this could happen.
And see, this is what happens as your society degrades.
So we're watering down the crime or the issue that started this, and now the focus is on this other incident that occurred, but only occurred because of the choices and things that were done before.
Well, that's
right?
a straw man argument, though, because you could also go in there and not shoplift. I mean, I really don't, what is your point? And see, this is what happens when you start thinking like, oh, corporations are bad, which corporations are shit and they do terrible things for the bottom line. But also they provide services that we all use daily. And when you get into
and they are employing hundreds or thousands of people in your community.
Right.
Those are paychecks every week being collected that are being circulated back into your community. So at the end of the day, maybe they should pay higher wages or whatever, but they're still providing services for lots of people.
Well, you see everyone say these things like, oh, they don't pay enough, they don't do this. And I agree with a lot of that, but that doesn't make shoplifting okay. And see, that same racial justice advocate, which, I mean, how do you apply for that job? I need to look into that. I think I'd be great at that. Will be the first one to admonish a store or business for closing down and say they're abandoning the neighborhood when they're losing money, rupturing money, and people are in there trying to fight the employees and stuff. They're not safe. So, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's really a ridiculous mindset.
Well, when I read that statement, I mean, it's like giving the green light to criminals and saying you've got to just let them shoplift because if you don't, they could harm their child.
Or their child could get harmed.
They could not strap their child in a car seat and show their child to cops and get the baby shot.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I like to approach things from a logical, reasonable standpoint, and I just see some of these arguments, and I think, they don't make sense, and you're kind of missing the point. And yes, I am probably a disgusting person. I know that.
Well, no, it's like when you see...
I do have there are plenty of disgusting thoughts I don't share on the podcast. So
you see a pregnant woman.
Just be grateful you don't hear those thoughts.
You see a pregnant woman out somewhere acting a fool, getting into some BS. And then, like, say the cops show up or someone's, like, had enough of their shit because they've been running their mouth all night or something. And then all of a sudden they want, oh, God, I'm pregnant. Be easy with me. But the burden is on you as the mother to be protecting that child at all times, even when it's in the womb. So you're the one that should be somewhere chilling out. You should be avoiding confrontation at all costs, even if the other people are in the wrong. And the burden's on the parents. I don't know. Let's move on.
Well, I mean, as parents, most people would agree that our moral obligation goes beyond just simply keeping children alive and fed, that it involves, like, protecting them as well. And so I don't know how you can be mad at other people who have an opinion on someone not protecting their child and that child ends up harmed, and that you're angry at us but not at the person who failed to protect their child.
Well, I'll end with this. That's the thing that set you off listening to Mountain Murders? You made it all this time?
Yes.
You made it all this time.
Good for you.
Through all the things.
Clap, clap.
And through all the things. All right. But thank you for having been a listener.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Sorry we're disgusting.
I feel gross right now.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I can spray you down with some 409.
I'm sticking to it.
Or some greased lightning.
Now you need some old purple power.
I need something.
You're going to need the strong stuff.
I'm going to need the little smiley Mr. Scrubby brush or whatever.
Yeah.
The little smiley face brush.
With the little finger holds.
Yeah.
You might need a magic eraser for this.
There is no magic eraser for this. Trust me, I've looked into it. Dylan, we are taking a break this week from true crime. We have covered in the last few weeks some very heavy cases, the Evelyn Boswell case, and I'll be honest, that case kind of took it out of me. Like it took the wind out of my sails a little bit.
Well, that was a really hard case to, go into a deep dive on because it kind of really...
Before that, we had the Relisha Rudd case.
Oh,
And these crime cases involving children, they really do take their toll.
Gosh, that was a terrible story.
So we're going to take a little break, have a little palate cleanser, if you will, and next week we will be back with a brand new true crime case I'm working on. A very interesting story, kind of like a new to me case. So I would like to share it with everybody. We are going to read through some listener stories, Dylan. It's been a minute. We have had some folks send us emails, shoot us a DM at our Mountain Murders Instagram account, and I'm going to read you some of these. Are you ready for listener stories?
They've been all up in your DMs. It's funny. I thought just the other day, I wonder if she has enough listener stories for an episode because I absolutely love to hear our stories from our listeners.
I love to hear from our listeners as well, Dylan. They're so awesome. We have so many great people out there. Sarah, Amy have recently sent me some messages, and I just love to read through those. People will send me little funny videos or memes, and I always appreciate that.
Or people will tell you you're disgusting.
Or I get a hateful note that I'm a despicable, disgusting human being.
Which is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
we want it all.
Just squish my guts out like a worm on the sidewalk. I'm despicable.
We just want interactions.
Sure. Yeah. All right, Dylan, I'm excited about these. Some of them are off the chain.
Okay.
Like okay, this is interesting. I actually had two separate listeners, both send me 2 stories each.
Oh.
Yeah. But one of those was titled The Most Florida Stories Ever. And so I cannot wait to read that email to you.
Oh, wow. That one's got to be a classic.
Right. I mean, just the title alone got my attention. All right. So let's begin here. For 5 years, I helped care for my nanny, Rose, who had dementia. Mostly during the day, like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., but a few times I took care of her overnight when my mom wasn't there. I got so freaked out staying overnight, I hated it. My mom lives in the middle of nowhere, and the house is completely surrounded by huge trees. Many nights I would wake up and hear talking in my grandma's bedroom. I would go in there, and she would be talking to who knows what in the pitch black. When I would ask, she would always say, quote, "I'm talking to these boys," or those little boys.
Oh, wow.
I woke up to her standing over me and staring at me as I slept on the couch one night. Another night I woke up at like 2 a.m. to a knocking on the glass. I looked around scared and confused. They have a sliding glass door with closed blinds, and I could see someone standing between the door and the blinds. So I pushed the blinds back, and my nanny is just knocking on the glass, staring out into the pitch black. It terrified me. I was so afraid to touch her. I finally held her shoulder and asked what she was doing, and she said, quote, "We need to let those little boys in." I was like, hell no we don't, LOL. I still get goosebumps thinking about it. She's done the same thing to my mom and sister. Once they took her on a trip to a family reunion out of state. The family all rented cabins in the same area. My sister woke up to find my nanny, they were sharing a room, naked on the back porch. My sister asked what she was doing and tried to help her get into a nightgown. And my nanny started shouting, "You got to show them your fanny if you want to make money."
Oh, damn.
We never have a dull moment. And that is signed Jamie.
Damn. Nanny getting that bag, son.
I haven't heard people refer to their bottom as a fanny in a while.
No, it's...
I like that. We need to bring fanny back.
Now, dementia is just a... From what I've seen, I've never had it directly impact me, but I certainly see how much it impacts people that deal with this with loved ones, relatives. It's a really tricky thing, because you never know exactly what the person's really thinking about. But now I wonder if maybe the veil's getting a little thin, if that's just something that she's thinking about, from the past, or if she's really seeing some boys.
I'm not going to let the boys in.
No.
Are you going to let the little boys in?
I'm not going to take a chance.
Well, the fact that she's repeatedly
Yeah.
made reference to some little boys is mystifying.
It's creepy.
All right, so are you ready for our next story? This is from Courtney. She sent 2 parts. Part 1. So I'm 17 years old. I was working at Best Buy, and the loss prevention guy also worked at this club. He tells me and this friend, a dude who was just a friend, to come out, and he would make sure I got in, seeing as I was underage. My friend was supposed to meet me there, so I was riding solo deep. Like most clubs, I was not on the best side of town. I'm there in the parking lot waiting and waiting for my friend. Nothing. This is 1995, so there are no cell phones. I drive my little red Geo Metro hatchback over to the closest well-lit gas station to use the payphone.
Now, can I say this is prime club years? 95? This is when it was happening.
I want to give a shout out to the red Geo Metro.
Yeah, I know. This is such a 90s story.
As a 17-year-old, I didn't see the issue with being alone at midnight in the hood using a fucking payphone. I get out of the car, use the phone, hop my ass back in the old Metro, and bam, dude walks up, opens the passenger side of the car, and points a gun at me, quote, "Give me all your money, give me that ring, give me that watch, give me that book of CDs, and give me your car keys."
Damn, he's going to take her CD folder.
I'm just handing shit over as fast as I can. The ring, it was tiny, not even worth $20, I'm sure. The watch, a Fossil watch that didn't belong to me. The CDs, I was in my country music stage, so he got a lot of George Strait, Clint Black, the Judds, etc. Okay, well, that sounds like a bomb-ass CD collection, and he did not deserve this.
Damn,
curated.
She was quick to hand over somebody else's watch.
This curated collection of musics.
How scary would this be, right? Just out of nowhere, you're in club mode.
Very scary.
You're trying to have fun. You're not thinking about anything, violent or anything like that. And just out of nowhere, you're becoming a victim.
Being on that side of town, I don't think he was interested in my kind of music anyway. I only had $20 on me, gave that to him, and lastly, my car keys. He gets out and takes off running and throws my keys in the grassy area next to the gas station and dropped my $20 on the ground while running away. Some nice man found my car keys, and I picked up my $20 and put it in my back pocket. I was about to say I called the cops, but I think I was so frazzled I just wanted to get out of there. This motherfucker could have just killed me and for what?
Some George Strait CDs.
Not shit. That's why my beloved George Strait box set. Yes, you can have it. After all of that, I just wanted to go somewhere safe. I went to my friend's apartment, and while it was still in the hood, I wasn't alone. But why did I wake up to go home the next morning and all 4 of my tires were slashed? I have no idea who did it to this day. It was probably my friend's brother because he was an unstable piece of shit. Fast forward to 16 years later, and I'm working at a scrapyard. Still where I work today. Oh, yeah, she's the head bitch in charge.
Oh, wow.
Courtney, the head bitch in charge.
Yeah, she is a HBIC.
So I'm working at a scrapyard, and I am paying a customer. When I looked at this man, I knew he was the man that robbed me. He had these hazel eyes that I will never forget. Plus, he gave me the strangest, uneasy feeling. There wasn't a single thing that could change my mind. Now that I had his name, I Googled him and saw that he had been arrested for doing the same shit, same time frame, in the same area to another girl. Thankfully, a no scrap list was put out for the people that have been caught stealing scrap, and he was on it. We had the joy of telling him to fuck off and not ever come back.
Yes. See, in the end, she strong-armed him.
That's very scary.
It is scary. And to see that person all those years later, right?
Yes.
And just know
You
that
did this.
you did this thing to me. You scared me when I was young, and for all I know, you could have killed me or hurt me.
This reminds me of one time I had gone to the community college in town to get my hair did.
Okay.
Because the cosmetology students would cut your hair, dye your hair, highlight your hair. You could get your nails did, right? You could get all these beauty treatments, I guess you could say, at a very reduced price because they're students. And I knew someone in the program, and she was like, "Come up and I'll trim your hair." So, and I was very young. I was, probably 20, 21 at this time. Go get my hair trimmed, come back out. Someone had gotten into my car, and it was probably my fault. I probably didn't lock the doors.
Well, that's not your fault.
Because I didn't, we lived in a small town, and crime just wasn't a big deal back then.
Yeah, but still, it's their fault for being a piece of shit.
Right. So someone stole my CDs, like one of those, like a binder, almost like a trapper keeper. I'm trying to think of what you would call that.
Is it a big one or is it the half ones?
It was like a big one.
Oh, wow.
You know, that has like, you can put 4 CDs or so per
Front and back.
plastic slip that's inside.
Yeah.
Right? Full of CDs. Most of them were burned because, you know, you could burn CDs back then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I had gone to college and my computer had a CD burner. And, you know, I was downloading all the LimeWire songs, catching all kinds of viruses and burning CDs.
And we didn't pay for shit back then.
And I had very distinct handwriting. And I would also label my music like weird stuff, you know, like songs to eat ice cream to or, you know, whatever. So fast forward a few years later, I am waiting tables in the summertime at this restaurant and befriend this, you know, a young woman. I had gone to high school with her and had not really known her that well back then, but we kind of started hanging out together. And one night we were on our way someplace and she was like, pick a CD. And I opened up her little CD, one of those little half sleeves that you're talking about.
Right.
A sleeve, that's what it's called. So I opened that up and flipping through, and there's like 3 or 4 of my CDs that were in that case stolen.
Did you say something?
Yes.
Were you like, where'd you get these from?
Yes. And she said, my ex-boyfriend, and then she kind of giggled and was like, well, that doesn't really surprise me. He's a piece of crap, and he was always breaking into people's cars, so I'm not surprised that he stole
Your CDs.
these CDs.
In such
Because
a small
they're
town.
his CDs. And she's like, I always question him, like, where did you get this? Obviously, that's not your handwriting.
Right. Your
Right.
handwriting looks like that of a female's.
Right.
Right. Man, you know,
So Georgia's ex-boyfriend, this dirtbag named Jason, had stolen my CDs like 2 or 3 years before.
a bomb-ass burnt CD back in the day was coveted more than anything you could buy.
Man, a mixtape?
Right. A
If
good
somebody
one.
makes you like a mixtape or they burn you a CD, there was just something so romantic about that.
Yeah, I had a
Hint,
CD.
Hint.
I had a CD. The title was The Panty Dropper.
I bet you
I
did.
did.
Is that really what it was called?
Yeah.
Did you put the songs on it or did someone make it for you?
Oh, I made it.
What was on there?
I can't tell you that. You just have to listen to it.
Oh, okay. Then that lets me do definitely it's music that's just going to dry my shit up.
No, no, girl. You'd be just walking down through there and be like, what happened?
Honey, I'm sorry, but what's his name? Joe? Isn't that the singer you like?
Oh, you don't like Joe?
Just Joe is his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not going to do it for me.
Oh, well.
Luther Vandross? Mm-mm. No.
Well,
Talented, but I don't think so.
Well, I guess your panties is going to stay on then.
Wayne Newton? My panties is coming
Oh,
off.
God,
You know
what are
why?
you-
Because I'm a Wayniac.
What are you doing?
Okay, or Tom Jones. Are you ready for part 2? Courtney has a part 2.
Yes, I want to hear part 2 of Courtney's story.
The year is 1999. I have an abusive piece of shit boyfriend that I live with. I work the front desk at a vet clinic. It's November. One of the Carolina Panthers players comes in to get his 2 puppies shots and their checkups. Latrice is an all-black pit bull. Tay is a fawn and white pit bull with the cutest freckle nose. They are both about 14 weeks old. Now, I saw Tay and fell in love. I needed this dog. I was going through so much turmoil, and my heart just connected with her. They went to the exam room, got their shots and exams, and it's time to check out and go home. The player pays for the services and hands me Tay and says, I know she will have a good home with you.
No way.
Jesus, I'm tearing up as I write this. I could not believe it. I was the happiest I'd been in a long time. About a week later, I get home from work, turn on the TV, and guess what I see? Well, the Carolina Panther that gave me Tay was Ray Caruth.
No
He
way.
had been arrested for having his pregnant girlfriend killed. I guess he was trying to downsize everything he had because he knew what he was going to do the following week. He is a horrible person for what he did. Don't get me wrong. I recognize that. But what he did for me, I will never forget. Shortly after, me and Tay kicked the abusive boyfriend to the curb, got our own place, and she lived a good life until she was put down at 12 years old. That was back in 2011. She was the best dog, and there will never be another like her.
Damn, that's crazy, right?
Wow.
What? She's rubbing elbows with a killer.
Well, you know, in Charlotte, it's not uncommon to bump into NASCAR drivers. I mean,
yeah.
I've known plenty of people who've been out and about, and they're like, oh, yeah, Dale Jr. was in the bar. I saw him hanging out, whatever. Or football players, basketball players.
Yeah.
You know.
That would be wild because they'd really stand out in a crowd.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how tall those guys really are. Because even the short guys are, 6'2", 5,
My
6'6".
mom's boyfriend for many, many years, and I consider him to be like my stepdad because they were together like 14 years, so he had a good hand in raising me. His parents lived in Gastonia, North Carolina, and James Worthy's mother was their neighbor, and you would sometimes see him outside washing his mom's car.
Nice.
And when he would stand up, he was, this huge guy.
Yeah.
Like 6'6" or something.
And football players are monsters.
Like just stand out basketball players. So you're like, oh my gosh, he's a giant.
Yeah, I came down to Wofford College here in South Carolina for the Panthers training camp. And those guys, we had like the little VIP pass. My buddy hooked me up. He was cool with the Budweiser guy. And those guys were just so big.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of times we forget how huge these players are.
Yeah.
You see them on TV, but when you actually see them in real life, you're like, holy crap,
We see
that
them off
guy
the
is
field.
huge.
Around regular sized people, even the guys who look small on the field or the court, they're big guys.
Well, Courtney, you have a hell of a story there, Ray Caruth.
That's crazy.
But I am glad that Tay, it sounds like she rescued you, and in some ways you rescued her.
Yeah, I think
Y'all saved each other.
she certainly had a better future with you than around that craziness and that mess because, that guy's whole life unraveled. What a dumbass.
Yeah, and if you're interested in hearing the Ray Caruth story, we did a multi-part, I believe it was a 2-parter, or maybe 3 parts on that case a few years ago. So maybe dig that out of the archives, check it out.
I know that boy ain't in that trunk.
Oh, goodness. All right, so this email comes from Christy. She says, my dog has on 3 different occasions woke me up from nowhere, positioned herself over me, like put her chest and front legs over my chest, and looked up at the corner of the room, it's the same corner each time, and started growling like something was there. I then calmed her down, and after like 5 minutes, she stands up, curls up next to me like a little ball, and falls back to sleep.
This is a common story you hear from people with cats and dogs, and often they look up into the corner of a room, and you just have to wonder, what are they seeing? Because this is the kind of reaction they have.
Do you believe animals can see beyond the veil, Dylan? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, I think maybe they can.
Okay.
Because I think and especially in the modern day, I think humans could have more. I think humans had more abilities back in the day.
Just more experiences, perhaps. I
Well,
get
just-
what you're
I
saying.
mean-
We rarely have quiet minds today. We're always hearing something, watching something, and listening to something. There's
Right.
always something to distract us. Rarely do we just have like hours where we're sitting in quiet stillness and opening our brains up to possibilities, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, and you look at our exposures, the various chemicals and environmental things like caused by humans, and you can look into studies like fluoride on the pineal gland in your body.
I've heard that when you stop using fluoride, you start having these very vivid dreams.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's fact or fiction, but I have heard multiple people say that.
Yeah, they go with a non-fluoride toothpaste, which is a place where people get fluoride they kind of forget about, and get off tap water and things like that. And they say that you start having very, very vivid dreams. Your mind just seems to work better. So I don't know.
Well, maybe that's what I need to do, is eliminate the fluoride toothpaste. Is
Yeah.
it really bad for you?
Well,
I guess I always just thought that was a conspiracy theory.
Well, I've been down the fluoride rabbit hole. It gets very, very wild and crazy pretty quickly. But that used to be an industrial byproduct they had to pay to get rid of, and then they had to, someone had to. Gosh, I want to say a Rockefeller, but maybe I'm wrong. Had the genius idea of that it could help people's teeth. And now there is science to prove that it does help if in communities that have access to it have better dental care, but or dental quality, however you want to say it. But there's a lot of dark theories out there as to why they expose all the citizens to fluoride.
Why they would come to the poor country rural schools and make us do a little rinse with fluoride
Yeah,
like twice a year.
try and get rid of our Mountain Dew mouth.
When we were little poor kids.
I remember that.
Yeah, I do too. Okay. Dylan, again, very Florida stories. This email definitely got my attention. Are you ready? 2 very Florida stories.
Did I say that? Is it pineal gland?
I've always said pineal, but that's
Pineal,
probably
okay.
wrong. I don't
All
know.
right.
Someone out there should correct us.
It's your third eye.
I even took like a, anatomy physiology class. I can't tell you shit.
You weren't cut out for that stuff.
No.
Hey, my hat's off to anyone in nursing, doctors, medical field. Even I'm sure our friend Renee probably has, a lot of the terminology, knows a lot about all that stuff.
Well, I do remember some of the Latin, like the prefixes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to anything dealing with the human body or medical terms.
I
And
can't pronounce any of the parts.
hats off to you for remembering all that.
Okay, ready for this? I was 25 years old when I learned one very important detail about my birth. Most people find out they were born in a hospital. Some people were born at home, and a few dramatic souls are born in the backseat of a car.
Wait, tell me you're not a toilet baby.
I was born in a porta-john. It was at a Willie Nelson concert. I wish. No, Dylan. I was born in county jail.
Oh,
And somehow my parents forgot to mention this.
now that's pretty wild.
The discovery happened during a family cookout. We were sitting around eating burgers when my uncle casually said, considering where you were born, you've turned out pretty normal. I laughed. Everyone laughed. Then I noticed nobody had stopped laughing. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Considering where I was born? The table got very quiet. My mother suddenly became fascinated with her potato salad. My dad took a very long sip of tea. My uncle realized he had accidentally detonated a family secret.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm like, what do you mean where I was born? Finally, my mom sighed and said, well, technically you were born in jail. I nearly choked on a hamburger. What do you mean technically? As it turns out, 25 years earlier, my parents had made what can only be described as a series of poor life choices. Their brilliant plan involved robbing a drug dealer. Now, before you ask, no, they are not criminal masterminds. Criminal masterminds don't get caught immediately, and my parents got caught immediately. Mom was pregnant with me at the time, which apparently made the situation even more memorable for law enforcement. Dad ended up serving 18 months in prison. Mom received time served and was released shortly after I was born. Meanwhile, baby me entered the world in a county facility that definitely did not offer newborn photography packages.
Oh my gosh, dude. What if it's in a little jumpsuit?
What if they took a little mug shots of the baby?
Yeah,
Can
that
you
would
do
be
that?
awesome.
Oh my gosh. So, no gift shop decorations, balloons. It's a boy sign. You're not going to get any of that.
So your mom's out there wilding out, pregnant as hell with you. Now, could you imagine hearing this at a family function and kind of having to digest all this?
When I asked why nobody had ever told me the story, my parents looked embarrassed. My dad said, we didn't want that to define your life, which was sweet. But also, how do you forget to mention that your child's literally born in jail? That's not exactly a minor detail. That's the kind of information that should come up maybe before age 25. I don't know, maybe around kindergarten. Like, hey, buddy, before you start school, here's a fun fact. The funniest part is that if you met my parents today, you would never believe it. My dad owns a successful business. My mom helps run it. They're involved in community events, donate to local charities. They sponsor youth sports programs. And, half the town knows them by name. People ask them for advice. Advice! The same people who once looked at a drug dealer and thought, you know what sounds like a great idea? Life is weird. When I was younger, I assumed successful business owners had always been responsible adults, but now I know some of them were apparently complete idiots first.
Well, you never know. And people look at older folks, elderly people, and just look at them through that lens of them being old. But I'm telling you, if you talk to them for 10 minutes, really talk to them, you'll find out real quick. A lot of times,
People's wild.
they were wilder and crazier than you ever thought about being, or got into some real
we
crazy
had some
stuff.
friends. We were out on a boat with some friends, and they're a little older than us. And just hearing some stories about, 40 years ago, what was going on.
Yeah,
Very funny stuff.
it's the Wild West.
a woman saying, and then I woke up and he had some old girl in there just staring at me. And I'm like, I can't imagine waking up and there's a strange woman staring at you in your motel room.
No.
Okay.
I would not be okay with
So,
that.
yeah, people did some wild stuff. Okay, and honestly, that's one of the best lessons my parents ever taught me. Not the robbing a drug dealer part. That lesson's pretty straightforward. Don't do that. But the real lesson is that people can change. The couple that brought me into the world through a spectacularly bad decision spent the next 25 years making good ones.
I brought you into county jail and I can take you out.
Well, no, I like that story.
No, it's true.
It's true. People can change.
And honestly, I think your dad was right. That really could. Some people could let that define their lives, like they had a leg down or something, or or let it kind of be like a tarnish their reputation or the way they thought about themselves, just from something completely beyond your control. Obviously, being born in jail.
Is that the most Florida story ever? I think it's up there.
It's pretty good.
We have another very Florida story.
Who was that story from?
I think her name is Taylor.
Okay, thank you for that, Taylor. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's Taylor.
Your deepest, darkest secret.
Now, Taylor has another story, and this one is amusing, Dylan.
Okay.
My Aunt Donna was the last person anybody expected to need an intervention. She wasn't some washed-up train wreck. She wasn't gambling away her retirement or buying Beanie Babies off of QVC at 3 in the morning. Aunt Donna was pretty successful. I mean, like, really successful. She owned a medical consulting business, drove a Mercedes, lived in a beautiful waterfront condo, and made more money in a year than most people I know. The only weird thing was that she was always broke. And I mean, always. Every family gathering, we'd hear some version of like, oh, well, my money's a little tight this month, which made absolutely no sense because this woman made enough money to buy a small island. Then one day, I accidentally discovered where all of her money was going.
Oh, my gosh.
Are you ready for this, Dylan? Because this is going to surprise you.
Is it the psychic hotlines? They get expensive.
I was helping her print something from her iPad when a notification popped up. Now, before anybody judges me, I wasn't snooping. The message literally appeared on the screen. It was from a guy named Luca. The message said something like, "Miss you, baby. Need another $8,000 for the villa."
What?
Along with a shirtless selfie, red flag number 1. Curiosity got the better of me, and let's just say Luca wasn't the only one. There was a Marcus, a Dakota, some personal trainer named CJ, a guy whose picture appeared to have been taken entirely inside luxury hotel rooms.
Okay.
It was like Aunt Donna had assembled an international collection of handsome unemployed men. Over the next few days, my cousins and I pieced together the financial damage, and the final number was horrifying. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Trips, rent payments, designer watches, plane tickets. One guy apparently needed money because his dog was having surgery. Aunt Donna sent him the money. At this point, we knew something had to be done, so we staged an intervention.
Damn, she's getting scammed, bro.
Honestly, calling it an intervention sounds too serious. It was more like an episode of a reality show. She showed up expecting brunch and instead walked into my family's living room where we had arranged folding chairs in a circle. And the second she saw us, she said, "Oh, no."
This is an intervention.
Then she spotted the poster board. And at the top, we had written Aunt Donna's Gigalo situation.
Oh, my gosh.
She immediately turned around and tried to leave, but we wouldn't let her. My cousin had even made a PowerPoint presentation. A PowerPoint! Imagine finding out your family created a slideshow about your dating life. My cousin invited the accountant. That should tell you how bad things were. When your accountant voluntarily attends a family intervention, you've made some questionable choices. So for 2 hours, we presented evidence, bank statements, photos, social media accounts. One chart connected all the men she'd been financially supporting. It looked like something the FBI would use to explain organized crime. Aunt Donna defended every single one of them, and she would be like, "Luca loves me." "No, Aunt Donna, Luca loved your credit card. But Marcus is different. Marcus has a wife."
Oh, my God.
Dakota just fell on hard times. Dakota seemed to experience hard times every time his rent was due. The whole thing would have been hilarious if it wasn't so sad. And eventually she stopped arguing, and that's when the mood in the room changed. She got quiet, and then she said something none of us expected. She was like, "I don't actually think they love me, right? But after your uncle died, the house got really lonely." And so, of course, that hit everybody hard. But because it suddenly wasn't about gigolos anymore. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't even about bad decisions. It was mostly about grief and being alone, getting older and feeling invisible. She said these guys texted her every day, called her beautiful. They would ask about her day, made her feel wanted. And she knew it wasn't real, but sometimes that the fake attention feels better than no attention at all. And I think we all understood that. 3 months later, things looked very different. She had cut off the professional boyfriends, started going on cruises with friends. She took golf lessons, made a bunch of new connections, and most importantly, stopped wiring money to random men, mostly.
Damn.
Because one afternoon, I got a text from her, and it said, met a wonderful Frenchman on a cruise. I immediately replied, how old is he? She wrote back 58, and I thought, okay, this is progress. Then another text came through, and she says, his son is 26. I nearly threw the phone across the room. Some lessons take longer than others.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is Son Taylor.
So, Donna was getting what she wanted. It wasn't a one-way transaction. These men thought they were taking her, and she was using them.
Aunt Donna's gigolo.
And that is the lesson that Donna has taught us. Love can be transactional.
I've seen, I guess it was maybe a reality show or like one of those little My Life as a whatever documentary type of things. And it was a fella who was a gigolo.
Was it The True Life on MTV?
That might have been it.
I love that show.
You know, but it was like him, like, I guess getting ready, like he was just getting into the business and like getting ready. He was like making all these appointments to get his hair done, like his body waxed.
Okay.
You know, appointments with personal trainers.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get your clothes and then you go on the date. And
Yeah.
a lot of the women that were seeing him were wealthy,
Obviously.
very, you know, powerful professional women. And they would say, I don't have a lot of time to date, but he comes over, we watch a movie, we, you know, kind of cuddle on the couch. Then whatever happens.
I could do that.
And then he goes away and I don't have to worry about him. You could do that?
I could be a professional cuddler.
Oh.
I'm very cuddly.
Well, I mean, Aunt Donna she was having a good time, but it sounded like maybe she did need an intervention.
No, and I'm glad her family cared enough about her to, you know, help her out, because that is a lot of money. And, you know, that she maybe could have done more beneficial things for herself with. But it sounds like Donna had the income to bounce back pretty quickly.
Well, Taylor, it sounds like you have an interesting family. You were born in jail, and your Aunt Donna had a thing for gigolos.
Just a gigolo.
Can I just say,
everywhere I go.
you know, we all, at the end of the day, have strange families.
It's true.
I mean, once you start digging in, you find out all kinds of strange dirt on your family, your relatives.
Every family has characters.
It's true.
Everybody has stories to tell from when they were young and dumb. I mean, and it's
I
very,
love those stories.
It's very interesting when people share that with you. And so I appreciate all our listeners sharing so far.
All right, are you ready for this next story, Dylan?
I
It
am.
comes from Stephen.
Okay.
Growing up, I spent my summers working for my dad's landscaping company in southeastern Virginia. If you've ever worked landscaping in July near Williamsburg, you know it's basically an endurance sport. Ooh, the humidity is thick enough to chew. Mosquitoes consider you an all-you-can-eat buffet. And after 8 hours of mowing and weed eating, every muscle in your body feels like it belongs to someone else. Okay, I don't need to know what it's like to be a landscaper in July. This sounds terrible.
No, I got to say, you know, just even mowing your own grass is a bit of a chore.
In the
you
summer?
know? Yeah.
You have to get up super early, or you need to do it when it's almost dark out.
Yeah, and you see these guys and gals just doing this all day, every day for a living, and I was like, wow, you got
Hats off.
Hats off to you.
One of our regular clients was an elderly woman who had recently moved into assisted living. Her family kept the property maintained because they hoped she might eventually return home. The house sat on several acres and backed up to a wooded area bordered by an old fence line. It was a beautiful property, but it always felt different from our other jobs. Not creepy exactly, just quiet. The kind of quiet where you notice there aren't many birds singing and maybe the wind even seems muted. Okay. One afternoon, I was weed eating along the back edge of the property near the fence. Dad was on the riding mower somewhere out front, and the sound of my trimmer drowned out everything else. I had my safety glasses on and was focusing on cutting through a patch of tall grass that had grown around the fence posts. As I worked my way along the property line, movement caught my eye. About 30 yards away on the opposite side of the fence, a man walked through a gap in the trees. At first, I assumed it was a reenactor. Living near Williamsburg, seeing people dressed in colonial clothing isn't exactly shocking. Tourists come from all over to see historical demonstrations, and locals are used to spotting people, out and about in period costumes. But something seemed odd. The man wore a bright red military coat with white cross belts, like across the chest. He had dark trousers and what looked like a military cap. It was black. Everything about him resembled the British soldiers one would see depicted in paintings from the Revolutionary War. What struck me immediately was how out of place he seemed, because there wasn't a road nearby, no historical events happening that day, and he wasn't looking around like someone who had wandered onto private property. He was walking purposefully, like he knew where he was going. So I shut off the weed eater. The sudden silence felt strange, but the soldier continued walking parallel to the fence line. I remember thinking I should wave and ask if he's lost. And then he stepped behind a large oak tree. I waited for him to emerge on the other side, but he never did. A few seconds passed, then 10, then 20. I walked toward the fence. There was nowhere for him to go. Beyond the tree, the ground opened into a relatively clear section of woods. No walking paths. You couldn't really get a vehicle back there, and no people. Like there was nothing. I stood there staring, trying to make sense of it. Maybe he'd crouched down or turned around, or I'd somehow lost sight of him. But none of those explanations felt right, because I would have seen him. The area simply wasn't large enough for someone in a bright red coat to disappear that quickly. I convinced myself there had to be a logical explanation and finished trimming the yard. Back at the truck, I mentioned it to my dad, and I said, "Did you see somebody dressed like a British soldier back there?" And my dad laughed and was like, "Nope."
Oh my gosh.
When I explained what I'd seen, he kind of shrugged. Well, he was like, "If you're going to see a ghost anywhere, Williamsburg is probably a good place." And that was the end of the conversation. But years later, though, I still think about it like it could have been a reenactor. Maybe I was suffering from heat exhaustion. Maybe my eyes played tricks on me after a long day in the sun. But here's the thing that sticks with me. I know what I saw. I saw a man in a British red coat walking calmly along the edge of the woods. And given how much history surrounds Williamsburg, the battles, the military camps, marches, and the lives lost over the centuries, part of me wonders if for a brief moment I caught a glimpse of someone who had been walking that same ground long before any of us arrived.
Oh my gosh.
I've never been able to prove it, but I've also never been able to explain it.
Never been able to disprove it, Stephen.
And that is signed Stephen.
Wow, what a story. I mean, how else can you explain that? That's an experience, right?
That is quite an experience.
And, I've always said that when you have these places where there's all this energy, like lots of suffering and, wars and fighting and, sanitariums, hospitals, prisons, all these places where people are, forced maybe to do things they don't want to do. I think there's definitely something to the energy being trapped in a way to that place, right?
Well, there are many reported battlefields, like Gettysburg is a good example, supposedly haunted. I mean, a lot of people go there. They claim to see things. They feel energy. They hear voices, maybe disembodied voices. They see an apparition that looks like a soldier.
Right.
And you get so many of those reports from differing kinds of people, different people, that, at some point it's like, well, maybe they're not making it up.
Well, yeah, I like it when a skeptic has an experience and they really try to figure it out or explain it away logically. And sometimes you just can't.
What do you think modern ghosts are going to be like?
Oh, I don't know. Like I saw somebody hunched over in the corner looking at some phone or something.
Yes, exactly.
They might not be as exciting as ghosts from the past. Let's just say that.
Okay. I saw a ghost in a pair of booty shorts twerking
Yeah.
in my direction.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The twerk house. You know, that'll be where the legendary twerking ghost is seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. She like rides your car out of the parking lot.
I saw a line dancing ghost. He was dressed in cowboy attire,
But have never been on a ranch.
just scooting his boots across the floor.
The white boots.
The damnedest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know. Maybe 1,000 years from now, I guess our time and everything will seem and as antiquated and foreign as, you know, the way we look back on the past.
Why do I never see dinosaur ghosts?
That's a good
That's
question.
a question that baffles me. Because if there are historic ghosts, why have I never seen the ghost of a T-Rex?
I don't know, but that would be a terrifying ghost.
Or like a little raptor?
That would be scary as well.
Yeah, it would be. All right, Dylan. Well, thank you for sitting down with me today to discuss all the things, enjoy some listener stories.
That was some good
It's
ones.
always good.
That was some good ones. Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everyone for sharing with us. Thanks to the people who can still stomach us and our podcast. We appreciate you.
Disgusting.
We're not going to preach at you next week. We'll be back with a regular episode. I can't wait for that. See what Heather has in store for us. And yeah, and we will see you in the middle of the week.
I thought you were going to say we would be popping bottles or something.
Yeah,
I was
that's
like,
right.
What is he talking about?
I offer a bottle service here for $1,000.
You'll pop the bottle off the top of a lemonade.
I will get you your chair in the corner. I got a velvet rope. That's your VIP section. You got we do bottle boys here. We don't do bottle girls.
Maybe that's what Nanny was talking about.
Oh, yeah.
You got to let them little boys in, but she meant the bottle boys.
Bottle boys.
You got to let the little bottle boys
with
in.
the sparklers. Yeah. And that $35 bottle of liquor that you're paying $300 for.
And Aunt Donna had been like letting them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why she's getting that Fanny out, bro.
Fanny. We had a neighbor named Fanny Mae
Oh, dude, that's the country as it gets.
when I was young. She was a character.
Anybody has the two names like that, they're always characters.
She wore like a house coat. I would just call it a muumuu, but a lot of people just, it's like a house dress or a house coat.
Right.
That's all she ever wore. And they had a dog. And this poor dog, it was 100 years old. It had to be. This poor dog was so old. And it really needed to just be put out of its misery.
Right.
Because it was so old. And it couldn't walk anymore. They would take it on a, quote, walk, but they would just carry it up and down the street,
Okay.
the dog.
And if the dog could, it would drag itself out in the road to get hit by a car.
Probably.
Poor guy.
Fannie Mae and the dog, yeah. Something else.
Did Fannie Mae smoke?
No.
She didn't.
No, but when we moved, okay. So here's the deal. My mom was a teacher, and the woman that she had completed her student teaching with, this woman named Sherry, my mom and Sherry became friends. Sherry had inherited her aunt's house, and that was Fannie Mae's sister. So Fannie Mae lived across the street from this house. We moved in there, and for some reason upstairs, we had like 1 million nails in the wall. Like there were so many nails in the wall.
Just like sticking out?
Yes.
Okay.
We were trying to figure out what was going on, and at one point we theorized perhaps she had maybe made like indoor clotheslines kind of stretching across the
Okay.
the top room where we had all these nails. We didn't know, Dylan. But they were in a way that it was not hanging up art. But there was just so many nails. So we move in there, or we're getting ready to move in, and we had done some work. We had agreed like we could paint. Sherry was like, yeah, you can update it if you want, paint or whatever. Give it a little refresher. So we go in, we're doing a little bit of work, and my stepdad and my mom are pulling the nails out of the wall.
Yeah.
And Fannie Mae and her husband, of course, are checking in to make sure, everything's okay. And I just remember Fannie Mae like kind of jumping on my mom and stepdad
For pulling the nails out?
for pulling, and she was like, "Them's good nails."
Oh. Did she want to save the nails?
I don't know, but then for like months after that, we would kind of joke, and I'd be like, "Them's good nails."
She comes from a time when nails were made by hand.
Well, also there were like a lot of rocks outside, and when we moved those out of the flower bed, she was like, "Them's good rocks."
Oh. You can't just throw the rocks out.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell she was definitely attached to this house and really didn't appreciate.
Her sister renting it out, you think?
Well, that was her daughter renting
Or
it
her
out.
daughter, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Okay.
Right, because this had been Fannie Mae's sister. So I guess she felt some right
Ownership.
or ownership to the property, yeah.
Damn. And so y'all just had a bunch of extra rocks and nails.
Nails. Them's good nails.
Okay.
How dare you?
All right. So until next time, we'll see you in the middle of the week with a recap.
Them's good podcasts.
That's right. Them's good podcasts. Them's good opinions.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye.